right, race fans, Ryan Aho here, and the one and only Bert Lehman, bringing you episode 70 of the One to Go Show. Bert, how the heck you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Before we get into the meat of the show, though, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. I mean, we've talked a lot about. You've asked me several times whether we should, if the racing should incorporate instant replay. And if it's anything like the instant replay that they do during the college basketball games, that's a hard no from my count. I don't know. I don't know if you
see it.
I don't know if you happen to see the end of the Wisconsin-Iowa game over the weekend, but it took 11 minutes to play 34 seconds.
That sounds like basketball to me. Isn't that kind of how that works? It's
Yeah.
like fall, yeah. So, but there was a lot.
But-
They had that many instant replays. There's no limit on instant replays, or what?
Apparently not. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but the announcers said that even the announcers were saying it's ridiculous that they were going to the monitors for every call. It was almost to the point where, you know, you don't make a call, or you make a call but you rely on the replay to affirm it, and we don't need that.
No, we definitely don't. Yeah, what the shows, I mean, other than maybe Puka likes some really long shows, we don't. But we don't need 8-hour race programs. I mean, I think if they can make a call, a lot of times it's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty common sense. If it's questionable and they can do it in a speedy fashion, I'm all for getting it right, but I'm definitely not for 7-hour race programs. I can tell you that much. I'm for a 2 hours and 45 minute to 3-hour window is perfect for this guy. Anything beyond that, not so much. But you know,
so I just wanted to share that with you, because as I was watching that basketball game, and as I was sitting there, you know, waiting for them to review plays, it's like I was thinking about our racing conversation. It's like I want no part of this I want none of this to be a part of racing.
Hey, who won?
Iowa did.
Well, that's why you're so bitter. See,
No,
come on.
No, I didn't say anything about whether the calls were right or not. It just took way too long.
I'll agree with you. Now, if it would have taken too long and they would have went Wisconsin's way and they would have won, it might not have been so bad. But I don't know. No, I agree with you totally. I think that everybody that's a race fan realizes the race programs are already too long in a lot of cases. And if they want to, and you know, we could talk about that, you know, in another show, but all the different things that I'd like to see added into a show, you know, especially event the 4 wide, the introductions, all that type stuff. Everybody's like, yeah, that's great if you don't have 6, 7, 8 classes in an 8-hour program.
Mm-hmm.
And instant replay is another one of those deals. You can add it in, you know, especially if you have the tools there to do it. But if it starts adding length to the program, I'm with you. Hard no on that one, huh? We definitely can't have that. So let's talk about some racing. So we can review here. Quite a bit of racing happened this weekend, and it was warm. Bert, I'm down in South Dakota right now. I'm in a hotel. I'm in Huron. It was like almost 60 degrees down here today. It's like
It was 60 degrees here in Wisconsin. Our snow is gone, except for where there were piles of snow in the banks. Otherwise, all the other snow is gone.
Yeah, so racing seasons. I mean, it's basically here, and I mean we're still a month away from our openers, I guess, in our region for the most part. But I mean, you can kind of taste it now. You can kind of feel it. It's like ready to happen. But some of our WISSOTA guys they went down to Texas, down to the RPM Speedway. The USMPS season opener was supposed to be last weekend. Of course, they got pounded with that weather a couple weeks back, and they opened up down there. They had a double header, a pair of 10,000 to win mod shows. A lot of money on the line for the modified guys in that USMPS this year. And we had some guys. We'll talk about them first. You know, Jesse Glenn's went down there. We talked a lot about him. We talked about Ebert, Landon Atkinson, Jason Good. I'm probably forgetting a few. I know Kurt Myers went down there.
Dustin Sorenson was down there.
Yep, Dustin Sorenson was there. And looking at the results, I think Ebert did about the best. For whatever reason, he just couldn't really do all that well in the heat races. I think both features, he was kind of around mid-pack. He advanced 7-8 positions in both of the features. He ran about the best. Glenn's, he had a rough week. Jason Good had a rough week. Atkinson, I think he got second in his heat the second day, and there was, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but they said on the announcer said something on the spoiler. So I'm thinking maybe he had a little bit too tall of a spoiler. I'm not exactly sure. So he got DQ'd and didn't, that might have been the B main actually. He did not transfer in then, and that put Jason Good in. So our Wissota guys, high hopes for them still this year. They kind of got a little bit of an education down there. They're capable of running with them. It just didn't start out real well. The first night though, Friday night, it was a snoozer. It was 50 lap feature, bone dry, marbly, kind of one lane, and Terry Phillips put a beat down on him. He just kind of checked out, and there was a little bit of racing throughout the field. But Friday was pretty uneventful for the most part. A lot of cautions, kind of made it a pretty boring feature. But Saturday night, Bert, that feature was incredible. And did you get a chance to watch Saturday night's feature from the USMPS?
Yeah, I did watch Saturday's feature, and yeah, that was a very good feature. It was a good battle between Derek Ramirez and Rodney Sanders there at the end. And talking about how our locals did, Dustin Sorenson had a good run going. He was running 7th with only like 3 laps to go, but something with his axle broke because the axle was sticking out, starting to come out the side through the middle of the tire. So I'm not exactly sure what happened, but he had to pull in after that.
I'm guessing somebody forgot to tighten the bolts because all it is. So, I mean, most people watching this are racers, but on the ends of the hubs, there's just little aluminum caps with 3 little bolts on them, and must not have got it tight enough. I've never seen one of them come off. I mean, things happen, but you're right. He did have a good run. I actually forgot that he was actually in the top 10 running strong, and that happened to him. And one-wheel wonders, they don't work real good on the snow, ice, or on racetracks. I heard the rumors. So tough break for him for sure. But yeah, that was a heck of a race. For the bulk of the race, all through like the mid part, it was like a 4 or 5 car battle for the lead. Like there was like 5 cars that were there, and I was impressed. And after watching the heat races, Bert, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go again. It's going to be a snoozer because the heats were dry and marbly, and it's like, this is going to be bad. But the features were the feature on Saturday was really good. Derek Ramirez, he's a guy, and I haven't paid a ton of attention to USMPS mods. Quite frankly, the biggest reason I'm paying attention to him now is Jesse Glenn's, Dan Ebert, and some of our guys are running with him. But I don't remember him being that strong. Like he's good, but I don't remember him being that strong. He looked really good, and he had a hell of a racer with Sanders. And I don't know. I want your opinion on this, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. Sanders could have won that race. Sanders got next to him. Contact was made. He dynamites the brakes, and it's like he never got another chance. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he could have roughed him up a lot more if he wanted to, and did the NASCAR thing to do and pushed him out of the way. But yeah, I mean, that was good sportsmanship on Sanders' part.
Bert, you're cutting out there. I don't know if that's on my end or on your end. Hold on. Are you there?
So
there you're back. There you're back.
Well, you were muted for a little bit, so okay.
Yeah, I you know what? I'm in a hotel here. I could have maybe some sketchy service, but you're exactly. I agree 100%. I was talking to my buddy Kraus, and Jeff Kraus. He runs a super, and it's like, we just rough him up, move him out of the way, get that win. What are you doing? But a massive amount of respect for Rodney Sanders. I mean, he's a class act. He's a hell of a race car driver. It's a long season. We're running with these same guys, and you don't see him very often move somebody out of the way. So that was kind of a racing deal when that happened. So mad respect to him to let it kind of play back out and kind of go at it the right way. And he came up a little bit short, but he gained a lot of respect from me in that regard.
Yeah, and one thing, you know, we were talking about how the locals did down there, and I know we were all excited when Glenn's announced that, you know, he was going to follow the entire tour, and I mean, rightfully so. And you know, we feel that we have top-notch racers up in our area, but we got to. Sometimes I think we forget that, you know, these USMTS guys, they do this for a living. So, I mean, it's not like you're racing against weekend warriors when you're racing against them. I mean, they're on top of their game all the time.
For sure. I mean, it's I guess really the number one traveling series for modifieds. But I will say this: our Wissota modified guys that are following that series are going to win some races this year. They've already done it. I mean, they've came up to Minnesota. The USMTS guys did on the home turf of the Minnesota guys, and they won with some Wissota motors in there. So I know our guys have everything it takes to run with them. I mean, they put their pants on the same way. I mean, yeah, Rodney Sanders is great. Ramirez is good. But I'll take Dan Ebert and Jesse Lenz over them guys. I'm just a homer, and that's just the way it is. So I'm looking forward to seeing them guys running up front, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, you know, that was it on the mod side of it. Late models. Okay, well, the one night they canceled, of course. The track just wasn't ready at Duck River. I think it was Duck River. But at Smoky Mountain, they actually raced on Saturday, and Bird. Seriously, day racing again? Come on, World of Outlaw event, right? And like literally one of the few World of Outlaw events where there was a bunch of Lucas guys there, plus Overton, you know, all these guys. And when they have like 50 cars, I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Day race. It's like unbelievably horrible. What was your thoughts of Smoky Mountain there for the World of Outlaws?
Well, I mean, actually, of the 3 late model races that I did watch this week, this was actually the most exciting one.
I thought I liked Springfield better. I thought Springfield was better myself.
Springfield was all right, but yeah, I mean, okay, but I mean, I guess I don't understand. Maybe the late model racing in the southern United States. You know, maybe we're spoiled up here in our area, you know, because, you know, we hear about, you know, the hotbed of late model racing being in the southern part of the United States. But, you know, now with streaming, you know, you, the whole country actually gets to watch some of these races. And it's like, I'd rather watch a race up here in my area.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You know, they have good racing down there when they start at 7, 8 o'clock at night, right? But I've seen so many day races, and I just don't get it. I'm wondering if they're going to do that during the summer, or if they start later during the summer. But it seems like there's a lot of day racing, and you know, it is the hotbed. It really is. I mean, you look at the traveling series, right? World of Lucas Oil, a bunch of people from them regions down there, and it's just. I mean, I just don't get it. And what kills me, Bert, is people are like, dirt is so much better than asphalt, right? They say it all the time. I say it all the time. So don't race on a dirt track that is like asphalt. I mean, give them something to race on. This ain't fair to the drivers. It's not fair to the fans. I don't understand why they do it. Madden, of course, he won. Marlar got second. Davenport got third. Really, Davenport should have got second. He put a pretty aggressive move on Marlar, and then he overdrove, slid up the track, and like Marlar got back by him. That was, and really, it wasn't a good race. He just got into lap traffic, and it was kind of, I think it kind of locked down. It was just kind of crappy. Bert, 9 provisionals. 9.
And 9 provisionals, and Shane Clanton didn't get one of them, who was thinking of following the Outlaws.
There is that. Yeah. In fact, they had 32 cars on there, and they actually wrote on Brent Larson's name as 33rd. So he wasn't even actually on the thing. They put them down 33rd. Man, oh man, you know, it's kind of, I don't really understand. They water it down, and I get it. They want these people to follow. but it's really not that much of a difference in points, so you get 90 show up points, and it's 102 points for last in the feature. So it's really only 12 points, right? It's not a huge deal. I mean, I get it. They all add up at the end of the year, but for the purpose of the integrity of the sport, right? They got to limit that. I mean, come on. I mean, we're talking 12 points. If you don't make it, sorry, you don't make it. It is what it is, right? It's a heck of a lot bigger of a difference between first and say 10th than it is from like 24th to not making the show. It's only 12 points. So I don't understand why they have so many. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. And especially with some of these drivers, right? Now think about this. So they have what's called an emergency provisional, okay, in the world of Outlaws. So they give you, I think the top two, I believe it is, get provisionals. And then from that point back, they have emergency provisionals. Now, Bert, on an emergency provisional, you don't get paid until you get up past, right, of what the start pay was. So let's say it's $1,000 to start, and let's say from 13th back is $1,000, and let's say that 12th is 1,100. They have to get to 12th if you're an emergency provisional to get $100 bill, $100. That's it, because they don't even get that 1,000 on the emergency provisional. They take away your start pay. Now they get toll money if you're in the top 12 and you're a platinum member in the World of Outlaws. You get toll money, and I believe that's $500 per event. They get that regardless. If they get first, they get it. If they don't make the show, they get it. They get $500 guaranteed, and they get 4 pit passes into any World of Outlaw event. I'm here to tell you that 12 points, and I get it. They're not trying to go there and get last and get 12 more. They're trying to advance up through the field and gain more points. I get it. But you start doing the math on this, you take them emergency provisionals, and it's like, it costs you all them tires, fuel, wear and tear on the engine to go and get $100 bill, right? That's most of the time they do not get up past, where they're going to get money. Usually they don't get up past there. Some of these World of Outlaw events, Bert, pay big money, right? Wouldn't you think that you'd save those emergency provisionals for the ones that pay more, right? The crown jewels type deal. That's what I would do. I'd be wanting to keep them in my back pocket for sure.
If there's a limited number of emergency provisionals that you get a year, yes.
Yeah, I believe it's 4 or 6. I believe it's 4 though. It might be 6. But yeah, there's a limited number of emergency provisionals, so I don't understand. Now, let's face it. There's some drivers out there that seem to get a provisional every time. I know we talked about Earl Pearson Jr. when he was in Florida. He was like the king of the provisional. It's like, dude, don't even run the heat, don't run the B main, just start in the back of the feature. And he worked his way up into the top 10 many times down there. Like he had for whatever reason, he just kind of found himself up there, but. There's just too many. 9 is too many. What is your thoughts? Is 9 too many in your eyes?
No, I agree. I mean, when the World of Outlaws would come up to Shawano Speedway, I think there'd be 4 provisionals, 2 track provisionals and 2 outlaw provisionals. And I mean, I think 4 is a good number. I mean, if you have to be the 9th provisional to make a feature, should you really be in the feature?
And I get it. Saying. Things happen, right? I mean, I get it.
Right.
Or whatever, things happen. But if it's consistently that way, no, right? Now, a funny story about the provisionals. So I saw they mentioned in Victory Lane down there, they were saying that, there was some miscommunication there with whether Madden was going to follow the World of Outlaw Tour. So I did a little digging, and I'm not going to say where I got the information from, but I will say it's a extremely reliable source, okay? So I like to go right to the horse's mouth to get my information, and I'm going to leave it at that, where I got it. So down in Florida, he was asked multiple times, hey, are you following the series? Because they have a contract to become a platinum member that gets you your 4 pit passes, that gets you your $500 guaranteed. And there's some things that they got to do, right? But the one thing it allows you to get is provisionals, right? And he's like, nope, nope, nope. Or he didn't say nope. He's like, yeah, I'll get it to you. And he just kind of dicked around, never got it done, right? Never got the paperwork turned in. Well, one of the nights down in Florida, lo and behold, he needed a provisional. He didn't get in. And he's like, hey, I said I was gonna get in, and they're like, sorry, dude, you didn't turn your paperwork in. You're gonna have to watch tonight. And he did not make the feature, but guess what? He got his paperwork turned in after that. So it's kind of funny. He's trying to play the game there a little bit, and once he got to where he needed the provisional, he's like, oops. And Davenport touched on that, right? In the article they had on with Davenport about him not following Lucas. If it does, he'd like to follow Lucas if like Bristol rains out or whatever. But if he just runs the open shows, he's like, I don't get any guaranteed money if I'm not following a series. I don't get a provisional if I'm not following a series. And yeah, so he's a little bit nervous now. He ran good. Let's talk about the next race down there because.
Well, before we leave Smoky Mountain, I just want to say, looking at the top finishing cars in that feature, you wouldn't have even known it was a World of Outlaw event. I mean, once again, the Outlaw regulars got spanked.
Where was Brandon Shepard? Was he? Where
eighth? He was the highest finishing Outlaw regular, and he finished eighth.
Was there any other World of Outlaw regulars in the top 10 even?
Lanigan was 9th, Strickler 15th, and Weiss was 17th.
That's kind of humbling for the World of Outlaw guys. I'm here to tell you. And, but I just a quick question. Who's leading the World of Outlaw points? Mod guy.
Oh, yes.
Mod guy, right? And but
I mean,
Shepard jumped up to second though. He was like sixth going in, and he catapulted all the way into second. I think he's like, I don't know the exact number, 70, 80 points behind. So I mean, it's a long season. He's still there, right? He's still there, but Strickler obviously not with an incredibly impressive performance, but he is still leading the points, and it's kind of cool to see a mod guy up there. I'd like to see, in a perfect world, I would like to see Ricky Weiss win and Strickler get second, and then like Rocket 1 can get third or whatever, because I think we're all sick of him winning. I like Brandon Shepard, but it's time for somebody else. So speaking of Madden, though, speaking of JD, I'm going to jump down. Let's talk about Cherokee Speedway. It's kind of bouncing around. I got your agenda in front of you, and I'm throwing you some curveballs here, so apologize. But a little bit, that was another big race because a lot of those guys that were there, they went down to Gaffney, South Carolina the next night because there's what is it, 30 grand to win coming up here in about a month at Cherokee, I think it is. So they went down there for a Southern All-Stars race to it's kind of like a precursor, kind of like hey, let's sharpen our skates a little bit and see what we can do. And again, it started at noon. It started at noon. Absolute junk. And I know you watched that race. What stuck out to you there, if anything at all?
Well, it was a one groove track. Everybody hugged the bottom. Davenport, who wound up finishing second to Overton, did try to move up a little bit on the track one time to see if he could get by Overton, but he lost ground as soon as he left the bottom. So, next lap he was right down and hugging the bottom.
Right.
And that's where you had to be. And the announcer was trying, I don't know if you watched that race, but the announcer was trying to make it sound exciting.
I like him. He's awesome. I don't remember his name, but he's got the bib overalls on, and he's got he's screaming into the mic. He's got the WWE mindset. I mean, he's all jacked up. And the first time I listened to him, I'm like, this guy's off his chain. Like, what is wrong with him? But then I actually listened to him, and you get through some of that, which I like the excitement. He does a good job. He does know what he's talking about. Like he's got the backgrounds on these guys. He knows what he's doing. So it's a different announcer because it's a Southern guy. They're different in the South. It just is what it is. But he's entertaining. He's fun. He's passionate. He's super excited. And I love seeing that from an announcer rather than the just dry deal. I mean, it's pretty fun listening to him. Without him, Bert, that show wouldn't have like been even
Oh, I
taller.
agree. I agree. I mean, he had a line where he said, Davenport trying to track him down like a dog in heat.
Yeah, he's got a lot of one-liners. He's fun. So race fans, if you don't know what we're talking about, jump on to Dirt on Dirt. And if you don't have Dirt on Dirt Flow, get it. I mean, it's worth it. If you're a late model fan, you should have it. But jump on there because they have all the Southern. They'll actually post all the Southern All-Star races, and this dude he's entertaining. It's worth
And the World of Outlaw races are on there too, you know, after the fact. So
yeah, yep, yeah. So that and then there's a lot of stuff on there. It's worth having. Now, obviously, Overton won that one. So Overton, what has he got? 4 or 5 wins already. So Overton, I think, might be leading the win count in the national late models. They actually had called him #1 driver right now in the country. But Davenport, another second, right? 2 podiums in a row. You know, we've been kind of talking, you know, this guy's so up and down. Like, I mean, he's either top 3 or he's like 82nd. I don't get it with him. So, you know, and he found some speed. He was quick both nights. So maybe he's turning a corner here. I don't know. But Davenport looked really good. Jimmy Owens got 3rd. He actually looked pretty good in this race. So, but yeah, just not real good racing. I mean, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but day racing absolutely sucks. So if you're a promoter on here and you're like, you know what, I think at the end of the year we're going to start at like 2. No, don't do it. Don't do that to your drivers, the fans. It's absolutely horrible. Labor Day shootout used to be that up in Hibbenbert. Used to be 3 o'clock each day. And I literally remember late model guys drawing. They go to the draw window, and this is when it was draw, redraw. It wasn't passing points. They'd go to the draw window, they'd pull the pill, they'd look at the number, and they'd like, shit. And they literally not even unload the car, they would leave. They're like, fuck it, I'm not even going to race. I'm going home. That's how bad it was during day races on the Labor Day shootout. Now, they moved that back. I think they're starting at like 6, and they split the program up so you don't run into that like you did then, but it was horrible when they had them day races. So another thing that happened, there was a bunch of drama in the 604 crate late models, weird drama in the crates. Weird, right? But they got this weird deal down there, Bert, where on the last lap, if they go yellow, they go green and white together, checkered. I don't get it. It's kind of it's weird to me. I'm used to green, white checkered. Like I'm used to it's got to finish under 2 laps, not 1. So they go green checkered and coming off a turn. I think it was coming off turn. Yeah, it was coming off turn 4. The leader lost fuel pressure. Second place dumped him, wrecks half the field. Third place gets the win. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this guy like literally just dumped him. In my mind, I'm like, this guy just drove through him. Well, it turns out he lost fuel pressure, and there was definitely some drama there. So, Bert, you dropped off. You missed. I had a phone call.
Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can't.
Okay.
I can't. Yeah, must have had a phone call.
No, all of a sudden you were talking, but I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. And for some people, they're like, about time. Dude never shuts up, right? So, but yeah, there was some drama there in the 604 crates. Now let's jump back up. You know, I have the sprints and Keith, we're gonna get to the sprints. We're gonna get to that. But we'll stick on late models here because we had one more race, and I didn't even know about this. I was searching Facebook for upcoming events for this week, and I saw that the Springfield Raceway down in Springfield, Missouri, they ended up having a race. It was called March Madness, and I looked at it. It was on SpringfieldRaceway.tv. So, folks, you're gonna want. I mean, if you want to watch this, it's like I don't know. I think it's only like $10 a month. You can watch a replay. SpringfieldRaceway.tv, and I got to looking, and I'm like, Billy Moyer was there. I'm kind of looking. I'm like, So I'm like, what the heck? I'm going to get this deal. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to watch this race. Lo and behold, Billy Moyer Jr. is your front row. Jr. gets out to the lead. Moyer kind of fumbles back to 4th, and he finally gets back up there. And the leader broke on a restart. There was a melee. Somebody spun out. The leader ended up pulling off. On that restart, Jesse Stovall, okay, he's not even in the wreck, right? There's a car spun out. Jesse Stovall was running third at the time, would have been second behind Moyer. Yellow flag comes out. Now we're under caution. Mind you, we are under caution. The race is like under yellow, and he comes around 1 and 2. He pulls down to the inside of the track, waves the official over. He stops on the track, waves the official over because he had a simple right rear quarter panel was kind of like tucked underneath, and I think he just wanted to make sure everything was okay. It's a safety deal in my mind. I mean, if you don't want to cut a tire and wreck the field when you're running second. So he like called him over and said, hey, can you take a look? The official walks around the car, doesn't even pull it off, is just simply looks at the car and he waves him on. Well, then all of a sudden you can see that they're kind of talking, and he pulls up to the outside of the back straightaway because they pit off the back there. And there was an official there, and it looked like maybe one of his pit guys. And he's kind of like, I've done it 100 times. You're like, hey, is everything good, right? It's kind of like, is everything good? And they're looking at it. Next thing you know, he's pissed off. I'm like, whoa, what happened? They put him to the back. I'm like, what? I'm like, he didn't do that. First of all, he wasn't even in the wreck. Had nothing to do with the yellow. The race is under yellow. He stops for the official to look at his car. And because he stopped to actually address an official, they put him to the back of the pack. I'm like, I have never seen anything like that. I would have literally burnt the place to the ground. I mean, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I would have gone mental. And I can't even, like Tom Nesbitt, he may have gone mental a time or two. He would have really went nuts. Have you ever in your entire life, because you've been going to the races for a long time, have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I haven't seen anything where somebody got put to the back for stopping during a yellow when they weren't the cause of the yellow. So yeah, I've never seen anything like that, and I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand when tracks do stuff like that. I mean, why chase racers away from your track? Because I mean, do you think he's going to go back there?
I wouldn't. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I can't. If I had $1 for every time I said I ain't never coming back to this place, I would never need to have money again, because I used to say that at least twice, 3 times a weekend. So do I think he'll go back? Yeah, I think he probably will. Do I think it's going to be reluctantly and he's going to be pissed off and have a little chip on his shoulder? Absolutely, and he should, because, like you said, I mean, if you stop to yell at an official, fine, put him to the back, right? If you're stopping to, maybe cause drama or whatever, okay, fine, I get it, right? But he literally stopped to just say, hey, can you look at my right rear, make sure everything's okay, and if everything's okay, and get back underway. And they're like, and then they announce it, or I could hear in the background, you can hear the radio chatter between the officials. Well, he knows the rules. It's like, I've been around racing my whole life. I've never seen a rule like that ever. So if that's the rule there, I used to think, like, going into that day, I'm like, that no fault caution rule is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. This is worse. I'm like, This is the no fault caution deal. I mean, that's nothing compared to this. And so it was a bad deal for Stovall. I think he maybe got back up to 10th or whatever. But the race, that was about halfway through, and it went to the end. I don't think there was another yellow there. They get into lap traffic. Billy Moyer poised to win another one. I mean, this guy's won a lot of races, 1 or 2. I think he's maybe on his 5th win or something. What has he got? 830 or some insane number, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm a Moyer fan. I'm like, all right, he's bagging another one here. Like, sweet. Here comes Bob Gardner. I don't even know who. I guess he's good down there. I don't know much about this guy. And so he comes from 11th. They get into lap traffic, and he sneaks by Billy Moyer to win it. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. So, Bert, what do you think of that race?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good race. I mean, actually, the guy who won the race, he refused to get off the bottom for the longest time, and I thought that was going to cost him the race. But he got off the bottom just enough to pass some lap traffic, and he was the fastest car at the end of the race by far.
He was. So yeah, hats off to him. That was a heck of a race. It was kind of fun to watch that one. Now, Keith, we didn't forget about you, buddy. Now we're going to talk about some sprint cars, because as much as the modified Saturday was pretty good, the late models, that was, in my opinion, that was the best race. That one there. You thought the Woo race was maybe the best one. I thought Springfield was a little better, but can we agree that the sprint car races were better than all of them? Oh, I feel like I lost you.
Okay, I'm here now.
He's back. We have a little technical difficulties. I feel like this is on my end because I'm in a hotel and I think their internet's a little sketchy out here. So bear with us. So,
yeah, it keeps muting me for some reason, so I have to slide the screen over to unmute myself.
Yeah, that might be on your end. I don't know why it would do that here, but I guess we'll figure it out. So would you agree that the World of Outlaw sprint cars were actually probably better than the late models this weekend?
Yeah, I'm a late model guy, but yes, I would agree with that. I mean, their features were. I mean, I only watched their features and the highlights of their features, but yes, they were by far more exciting.
East Bay was pretty good. Volusia was okay. So Volusia, they were down at Volusia and at East Bay. They made a Florida swing down there. And the first night, I tell you, this guy drove for Kyle Larson last year, and then remember he lost his ride. They shut down the sprint car operation. Carson Macedo was bolted. He won. I mean, you win from 10th on a half mile. That's getting her done. I mean, he drove up through there. Sam Haferteep Jr., he led most of that race, and here comes Macedo, drove right by him. Gio Scalzi, he got third in that one. So fairly uneventful at Volusia, other than Macedo coming from 10th to win that. That's pretty impressive. But East Bay, to me, that one was that was a pretty good race. And there's a couple things that stuck out to me in this one. But for the first time in 38 years,
yeah, I agree,
the World of Outlaws were back at East Bay. I know you watched the highlights. What stuck out to you at East Bay, Bert?
Are you there?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. I apologize for whatever's causing this.
It's all good. So what stuck out to you at East Bay for the sprint cars?
I mean, before.
Bert is froze up again.
You there?
I am. So, hold on. So, Bert, at East Bay,
okay,
what stuck out to you with the sprint cars over at East Bay?
Well, you sent me some notes before I watched these races, and you said it rained, so the track was narrow. But what surprised me was that didn't bother Aaron Reitzel. He just drove above the cushion. Did you see the line that he raced?
That was impressive, and it reminds me of back in the mod days. I saw Steve Arpin do that at Cedar Lake. I think it was at the Wissota 100. There was a big curve, and he's driving above the cushion, all four tires above the cushion, and just launching. I'm like, that took some balls, right? That took balls, and that's what Aaron Reitzel did. I mean, the cushion was like not maybe halfway, 2/3 at most off the racetrack, and he went all four tires above it, and he would just bury it in there and turn it, and he just put a beat down on them. And it looked like maybe towards the end of the race that was fading a little bit. Maybe they were going to have a chance to get by him, but he kind of dominated. I was pretty impressed with that group. Brad Sweet second, but again, Carson Macedo, who the first night went from 10th to 1st, 17th to 3rd to get on the podium. He was coming too. I mean, he was charging. He was fun to watch. So if there would have been a yellow late in that deal, I think Macedo might have had a little something for him, because he was not too far behind first and second at the end of that race.
Yeah, I mean, it's two impressive races for him, but for sure to pass that many cars and get podium finishes in both races.
So last week we made some picks too, right? And I looked at all my picks between the late models, the sprint cars, the modifieds. What percentage do you think I got right on the wins?
0.
That's correct.
I may be there
wrong.
too.
All of them got all of them wrong. No, and I don't think you had any right either, did you?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
I know I didn't get the World of Outlaw late model one right.
Yeah, you did not. I gotta give props to Pete. He's one of our experts that kind of gives us some information. Pete actually picked for the modifieds. He picked Terry Phillips and Rodney Sanders. Phillips won the first one, and Sanders almost won the second one. So he almost had both of them right, and he picked Madden to win the late models as well. So I tell you, so Pete, he got two. Well, I'm not even going to say almost. He got two right out of that deal. To my 0, your 0, Jeff got 0, and Keith got 0. So if we're we should start keeping track. I'm gonna have to look back at the show because we're gonna have to start keeping track on this, kind of like they do on the NFL games. Right now, I think Keith is winning on this deal. So, Pete, sorry, but I think we might have to maybe start keeping track next week. Just kidding. We'll keep track on that one. So now that was basically it on the racing this weekend. You know, there were some good races. We got some upcoming events this weekend as well. Quite a few, and Jeff sent me a bunch of information on some upcoming events, so thanks to him. So over in Cochran, Georgia, Cochran Speedway, that's the track that Parker Martin's dad owns, and they've kind of had their own drama, right? They've had a little bit going on there. But Friday on Flow is last year, they're supposed to have the Gobbler 100, $20,000 to win. And that they're running their makeup feature, and they actually added in another show for Saturday. They said it just makes sense for the drivers. They're coming for this one. They got to run the B mains in the feature. Let's give them another show. So Saturday they're going to run for $5,000 to win. I'm not sure if Saturday's streamed or not. I'm not sure if they worked that out. Friday is, and I believe I'm about 99% positive that Brandon Overton and the Voodoo Child are the front row for the $20,000 to win race. So. With that said, who's your pick?
Well, if you're starting on the front row, I'm going to take Overton.
You're gonna take Overton? I cannot not take Overton for sure. Now man, oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna have to look back through my notes because they sent me right. And I wrote it down, and I literally left my notebook in the car. So bear with me for 2 seconds here. So, because they all made picks for this one. And I got it right here. So, let's not forget. Bear with me 1 second. I got to go back because they blew up my text feed from the time when I've been gone. So Jeff actually picked for that one. Yeah, he picked Overton. Jeff picked Overton for that one. Keith picked Bloomer to win that one. And I'm looking down, and I don't know. Oh, Pete, right there. Pete picked Overton as well. So 4 of us picked Overton, and Keith picked Bloomquist. So I do have it right here in front of me. So now I got to go back to our feed there. So what do we got next on the agenda? What's the next race coming up? So that's at Cochran. That's on Flow Racing.
And Boot Hill Speedway in Greenwood, Louisiana has the Ronnie Adams Memorial.
Yeah, and that's Lucas Oil. Yeah, Comp Cam's Super Dirt Car Series or Super Dirt Late Model. It's a really long name. It's the Comp Cam's Late Models. We'll just call it that. It's their season opener. Bert, I believe that one's on Flow as well, isn't it? 3,000 to win, 7,000 to win. A few guys that I saw that are supposed to be there, they're advertising. Jason Papich, Terry Phillips, Earl Pearson Jr., Morgan Bagley, Hunter Rasdin, Spencer Hughes, and Jesse Stovall going to that one. We did not make picks necessarily for that one because I think we're not going to pick all of the races. So that's one to definitely watch. So if you're a late model fan, there's a lot of racing on, a lot of it on full this week. You'll be able to have like multiple browsers open watching racing. That should be a good one though. Now, you kicked out again there, so that's okay. We'll let you jump back on.
I'm here.
So the next one coming up is going to be at Florence Speedway. This is going to be the Spring 50. That's Saturday. That one is also on Flowbert, non-sanctioned, 10 grand to win. Looks like there's going to be a lot of Illinois guys going to that one. I saw Tyler Erbs going, Bobby Pierce. I picked Bobby Pierce to win that one. Who do you have to win at Florence?
I'll go with his nemesis, Tyler Erb, if he's there.
Tyler, that's the battle right there. Now I know Pete picked Brian Shirley. Not 100% sure if he's going, but it sounds like there might be a few of them heading down there. Turbo, Keith picked Turbo, and Jeff. I want to say Jeff picked Turbo as well, but let me take a look here. I got it right here. Oh, Jeff sent me that in a different feed. There, he's messing with us. So we got Turbo you took Turbo. I took Pierce.
Yes.
He took Brian Shirley. Keith took Turbo. And I'm looking to see here. Jeff. Oh, there it is right there. So Jeff for that one at Florence, he said if he's there, he's taking Shannon Babb. Pierce won that one in 2019. The last year's race got canceled because of the COVID deal. So another race coming up is the Southern All-Stars. They're actually going to head over to the Milton, Florida Speedway, and that's where the Hunt Front team is based out of. And it's a 3 grand to win, 5 grand to win. Of course, that one is also on Flow Racing, so you're getting your money's worth this weekend if you have Flow. Overton's a current point leader for the Southern All-Stars, but I don't think he's going to be there. He's going to be in Georgia, so he's not going to be winning that one. So tune in, and you're going to hear the I guess we'll call him the mouth of the South. We're going to have to get this guy's name, but he's absolutely exciting to listen to. So that's a little bit of what's going on there in the late model stuff. Now, we also have some sprint car racing coming up, and this was the one that was rescheduled. The weather hit, got rescheduled. This is on Dirt Vision. Friday night at the Mag in Magnolia, Mississippi. Saturday night at the Rev in Monroe, Louisiana. Who's your pick for the World of Outlaw sprint cars?
I'm gonna go with Massino. See if he can duplicate what he did last weekend.
That seems to be pretty popular. I took Carson Macedo night one. I'm going to take Donnie Schatz to get a win there. Actually, let me look here. I think I might have taken Schatz day one. I got Schatz on day one, and I have Macedo on day two. That's what I'm going to do there. And looking at it here, Pete is going to take Logan Schuchart. That's who he has to win both of them. And Keith Erickson has Macedo night one, Sheldon Hodenschild on night number two, and then Jeff, our late model expert, who clearly knows nothing about sprint car racing, but neither do I, because I ain't got a pick right, I don't think, all year. But he has Macedo on Friday and David Gravel on Saturday, and he's been running good. Now there's also a non-Wood deal up at Williams Grove as well. So lots of racing coming up.
I'll take Brad Sweet for the second night.
Brad Sweet. He's got to be due too, isn't he? The big cat, he's got to be due. So there's a lot of racing coming up there, Bert. You know, between the Southern Raceway at the Southern All Stars, Florence, you got the Boot Hill Speedway's got that Ronnie Adams Memorial, the Gobbler 100. Now, one thing we got going on that's a little bit more local to our area is the USRA Modifieds heading down to Humboldt. The battle at the Bull Ring Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's $1,000 to win each night for the USRA mods, but it's Saturday night's finale for the B mods, $10,000 to win. And I know that some Wissota guys have gone down and taken their money. I know there's several guys heading down there. I don't know who's all going, but just want to say best of luck from us at the One to Go show to all the guys from our area heading down to Humboldt, Kansas to try to take home that $10,000 cash. We'll be watching you. That one is going to be on Racing Dirt. They cover most of the USRA and USNPS action, so that's where we're going to be able to catch that one. Now, before the next show is aired, Bert, that's the stuff going on over the weekend. I heard a rumor, something happening in Tennessee starting next Monday. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen anything on Facebook about it. Something about a Coliseum, a different, I'm not sure. What's going on starting next Monday?
They are going to start racing at Bristol. And before we get into the Bristol race, I watched a little bit of I never watched NASCAR pre-race, but I was doing stuff around the house when NASCAR pre-race was on, so I had it on. NASCAR is really promoting this Bristol deal. For when NASCAR races are later this month. They had Jeff Gordon and Clint Boyer, the announcers, at a dirt track with a modified tooling around, and Boyer's pulling out goggles and stuff. And I have to ask you, have you ever seen anybody, because Boyer pulled out 2 red Solo Cups, gave one to Jeff, and then he pulled out a pair of pantyhose to put over the Solo Cup so he wouldn't get dirt in his beer. I have never seen anybody put pantyhose over a Solo Cup so dirt doesn't get in the beer. What was that?
Most of the dirt track guys I know, their beer don't last long enough in the Solo Cup for it to get dirt in it. That's kind of the thing. If you're at a dirt track, you're drinking out of a Solo Cup, you get dirt in it, you're not drinking fast enough. So that's probably, these are asphalt guys. They probably don't drink fast enough. Of course, both of them guys have ran plenty of dirt back in the day as well. So I tell you, I'm not a huge NASCAR guy either, but I'm a little bit more intrigued right now with those two behind the mic and some of the stuff they're doing. They're adding some value. And I tell you, I'm pretty excited about what they have going on. They're doing a lot of, I used to watch NASCAR, and Kenny Wallace was extremely entertaining, before the races and commentating and all that. And now you got Boyer and Jeff Gordon. Them guys they found their calling. It's super fun seeing a former racer. I mean, both of them have raced at the highest level, and then being able to kind of add value to the program by the stuff they're doing. It's been absolutely awesome. Them guys are great. So it's we're talking about it here. It wasn't even on the agenda, but how do you not talk about it? So that's a pretty cool deal. I'll be tuning in a little bit more to watch some NASCAR stuff just because of those two. And I think that NASCAR. It sounds to me, Bert, like they openly admitted. I listened to something with Kenny Wallace that they maybe went a little too political, clearly, right? But it sounds like they're trying to undo some of the stuff they did as far as making it too professional or whatever. So they're trying to maybe they're going to realize who their fan base is. Maybe they're going to realize that they need to start having a little bit more fun at these programs to get some butts in the seats. So, knock on wood that they're going in the right direction here at NASCAR. Now, speaking of NASCAR, if we're on the topic, right, Kyle Larson getting her done.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And he looked good the week before at Miami. He was second until like the last lap, and he slipped back to fourth. I gave Keith a little grief about that, and I said, your boy stepped on his dick. How do you lose 2 spots in the last lap, But he more than made up for it this week by getting her done, parking that baby in victory lane. So Kyle Larson. He's one of us dirt guys, so it's good to see him getting a victory there in NASCAR. Hats off to him. Now let's get back to Bristol starting Monday, and we don't need to go over the whole schedule. You can go to Bristol Dirt Nationals, I think .com, and they have a full schedule of events. All the details are on there. You can check that out. But Bert, what are you most excited about coming up at Bristol?
Well, I'll get into the racing action in a second, but I'm really curious to see how this all plays out with what are they going to have? Over 1,000 cars there racing over the course of next week. It was posted on Facebook, a map of the area that the track is located in and where parking is and everything. And some of the places where these cars are going to have to park to pit. I mean, it's not like you're right next to the track. They're going to actually have to drive a little bit just to get to the staging area, which is outside of the track. So I'm interested to see how that all plays out. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking for, there's a handful of drivers from Eastern Wisconsin going. So I'm interested to see how they do there. I know a lot of them have posted on Facebook that, they're going because this, could be a once in a lifetime experience to race at Bristol. So, I, wish them all luck and hope that, they all have safe racing because we know that place is fast.
I was watching the practice. So Race XR is going to be covering all the action at this, and they've had a lot of stuff on their Facebook page kind of promoting this deal. I'm here to tell you, them things are coming into the corner like insanely crazy fast. I mean, it is. So I'm hoping it gets racy because, I mean, practice, you can't tell nothing off practice. It's always narrow in practice no matter where you are. But you get a track that fast. One of them cars loses a right front tire, something happens. I mean, they're going to start rolling and they're going to end up back in Minnesota. I mean, it's going to be violent. So they were pretty smart on talking about, your safety equipment better be up to par coming out of this bad boy because it is going to be wicked fast. Hard on engines, hard on equipment. I think a lot of people are going into that knowing that already. But a lot of people from our whole region, whether it's Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, there's a lot of people heading down. Good luck to everybody down there. We're going to be pulling for you. Hopefully we can get a little bit of bragging rights. Like to see them guys go down there and run well. Mods are going to be tough, the open mods, because they're bringing Wasota stuff against the UMP motors on a big half mile is what it is. They're going down for the experience, but I just hope they don't wreck a bunch of stuff. If you're going to go down there,
I think the best opportunity for local drivers from Eastern Wisconsin to have success will be in the IMCA stock car division, because that division is pretty equal. There's some very good IMCA stock car drivers from Eastern Wisconsin that are headed down there. So I'm curious to see how they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, let's get into the last lapper. Madden, he comes off a victory right over at the World of Outlaw race at Smoky Mountain, and he's a no-show for Cherokee. And I saw on his Facebook page that he got sick, and I'm like, I don't know any details. I don't know if it was just the flu or what it was, but he even went to the doctor the next day. Sounds like it was pretty cold at Smoky Mountain, or at least for them southern folks, they thought it was cold. And but yeah, he come down with something. So Madden goes from winning the Extreme Dirt Car Series points to winning the World of Outlaw race to I'm sick. So hopefully he's on the mend. Hopefully he's back in action. Sounds like he's taking a week off and he's going to get ready for Bristol is what it sounds like. So we talked a little bit about him in the Platinum program. Now, something I'm excited about, Bert. Actually, we're going to stick on one more topic. I don't have it on the agenda, but JC Nordgard, a friend of ours up here. You might not know JC. He took the pictures. One of the articles that you wrote, some of the pictures.
I don't know him, but I was just going to say, is he the photographer? Because he had the photos for one of my articles.
Yeah. So there's a tie there, right? He actually got the position. He's the official photographer for the World of Outlaw late models. So congratulations to JC. That's pretty awesome for him. Stand-up guy. He's always fun to be around. And and he's gonna be around the Wissota area a bunch too still, because they don't race every single weekend, but that's a pretty cool deal. I mean, that's upper echelon deal. So proud of him for making that happen. Now, with that said, Bert, I'm excited about something because the first week of April, I'm launching another show in conjunction with what we're doing here. But we talked when we did the power rankings last year. We kind of just posted the late model deal. Well, we landed a sponsor. The details are coming soon, and that sponsor says, you know what? Let's do a power rankings for the the late models, the Wissota mods, Wissota supers, Wissota Midwest mods, and Wissota streets. I'm like, oof. It sounds fun, but there's going to be a little bit of time invested into this deal. My girlfriend's going to yell at me for all the racing I'm going to be watching now, right? So, but I think it's a pretty cool deal. We're going to do that. We're going to do power rankings for those 5 classes, but each and every week, starting the first week of April, where we do kind of the preseason top 10, I'm going to be breaking down kind of like a hierarchy to speak. We're going to be breaking down the top 10 each week. And that is going to be posted individually by class on Facebook, YouTube, so on and so forth. So that way, if somebody just wants to watch streeters, they can watch streeters. Somebody wants to watch supers. But, talking to him, it's like, yeah, we have some newspapers. So we got all the dirt, and we have Facebook, and we got all that. But there's no real coverage as far as shows and what's going on in the Wissota world. In a digital format, in a video format. So we're going to bring that to the Wissota race fans this year. Excited about that. Bert, we might have to get you watching some of the Wissota races so you can kind of participate in some of them with me.
Well, I watched a few I watched more last year than I have in a long time.
You have. So excited about that because, there's a lot of stuff that goes on nationally. I mean, Dirt on Dirt does a bang up job with a national late model series, but there's not really anything that really highlights the drivers in our area. So I'm excited to be doing that here in 2021. So stay tuned, folks. That's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of that, just really quick, and we're going to get into, we'll do our preseason deal. Who would you say in your mind right now today, would you put maybe in your top 3 for our regional late model power preseason power rankings? And we'll get into this a little bit more down the road, but like top 3, keep in mind, right? The X Factor, Jesse Glenn's, he's running USMTS. So he's still going to.
I was just going to say that.
So he's still going to run some late model stuff, but he's not following the whole challenge series. He's not racing for national points. He's going to be kind of hit and miss. So do we start him off in the top 3 based on what we know his schedule is going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough because, I mean, in a normal year, he would definitely be in the top 3, probably the top 2. But he's not going to race as many shows. So I don't know.
So a couple people that come to mind for me, Pat Dorr, the Double One Express, Dustin Strand. He runs primarily that NLRA region. Hopefully we can get him away from there a little bit. South Dakota's up now. If the border's open, right? Shane Edgington and Turnbull both talked that they want to follow the NLRA deal. They could be in the conversation. Could they possibly take some wins and knock Strand down a notch? Strand's a hell of a race car driver, but you get a couple more guys there, things can get kind of interesting. So that region is going to be dependent on if that U.S.-Canadian border opens up. I think that Wisconsin, that western Wisconsin region, I think Pat Noer is a guy that's on top of my list, but a guy that didn't have a lot of wins last year, Bert, that was there, AJ Nemo. He's another guy.
I was just going to say him.
Yep.
And it seems like AJ kind of sometimes gets a late start to his season, which kind of hurts his the total number of races that he races. If he could get out there right away when the season starts, I think that would be beneficial for his appearance on a top 10 list.
Absolutely. Now, how about in your area? give me a name or two. Who do you think's going to rise to the top over in eastern Wisconsin this year?
Well, I mean, I think the top driver from our area is Nick Avalanche. And I'm not saying that to try to get back into his good graces after I gave him a C last year. But no, I mean, I expect Nick to be, near the top and in any of the local races that he races in our area. If Mike Mullen races more late model races this year, I think he could be a sleeper pick to be a top driver from the area. And I mean, you can't overlook Justin Ritchie either, even though he didn't have any wins last year. He did win the Dirt Kings championship. So off the top of my head, I would say list those three right now.
Yeah,
well, then you have Taylor Scheffler and from the Plymouth area. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good drivers in our area too.
It's going to be fun. The South Dakota region's up in the air, right? Because the last few years, looking at national standings and wins and all that, Chad Becker was the guy. There's a couple of young guns. I tell you what, they had stellar year number ones. Could Cole Searing, could Tyler McDonald, could they be the guys? Scott Ward, checkers or wreckers last year, right? I mean, lots of issues with stuff, but when he ran well. He won races. He could be the guy. Arment, could he have a resurgence? So that South Dakota region, northern Minnesota, kind of that Twin Ports region. Last year, Massengill got all the love. Only one win, but lots of top fives, especially at big shows. It's going to be interesting, right? Brett's going to yell at me for this. He's going to be like, we're going to be just fine. But I don't know, man. You go from running really good in a car, and then you jump over and you're like, hey, we're going to go to totally something different now. That thing ain't been proven yet. I mean, I ain't seen the speed out of Ricky Weiss that I'd be feeling comfortable going, man, we're coming in guns blazing with this deal. They ain't where they need to be yet with that 7 ride. Knowing that, right? Knowing that, is Massengill going to have a step up or a step down? What's going to happen there? Harry Hansen back in the saddle of a late model after a couple of years off running some sprint cars. Perennial favorite up there in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. He's fast in that 7. Provenzino made some changes to his car. Of course, Derek Vessel, Jake Hittner, so Kyle Peterlin. There's a bunch of guys. It is going to be super interesting to see things get underway. Like, I'm chomping at the bit right now, Bert, for racing to get started.
One thing I'm looking forward to in eastern Wisconsin for late models is hopefully a more complete season. I mean, last year COVID really limited some of the number of races that some of the tracks had, and now with Dirt Kings back at Shawano Speedway for 2 scheduled races, hopefully the southeast and northeast Wisconsin drivers will compete head to head against each other. So that should give us a better gauge of how the drivers compare to each other.
And Nick Anverlink's average finish at Shawano, I think, was like 2nd. So
yeah.
So I mean, I don't care who it is, right? It could be somebody from Western Wisconsin or whatever come over, and when you pull into Shawano, it says Nick's house right now. Like he's the guy to beat right there until proven otherwise. So it'll be interesting to see if he runs more. Boy, I'm curious. I'm going to have to talk to him, see if he's going to follow the series or not. And I'm sure all the people that are following the series are like, nah, we don't really need him. But we'll find out soon enough. So, and Bert, the last thing I'm going to end with is this. So the Viking Speedway, Alexandria, Minnesota, I was talking to one of their board members, Jeff Krause, and they're super excited. They're launching something new. They're going to actually do a 6-lap dash for cash in all classes this year, and it's going to line up based on the heats. So if it's 2 heats, it'll be the top 3, and they're going to line up straight up from the heat races. Right now in Wissota, heat races mean nothing because you just got to make the invert. You're in the feature. There's no points, no nothing. But this is going to be straight up to the dash for cash. an extra $100 on the line every single night for all classes. So as a race car driver that was always flat broke, you throw something at me for an extra $100 and I'm all in. And they also announced that they're putting together a pretty lucrative point fund as well for all the classes, and I believe they're paying $1,000 to win, above and beyond what WISSOTA gives the track champions there just for the mods, and then it's going to break down from there. So it's cool to see a track with some excitement over there in Minnesota. Of course, if you haven't been there, that's a high-flying half mile over Alexandria, Minnesota Viking Speedway. So hats off to them guys. Bert, really quick, this weekend's racing, what sticks out to you? What are you the most excited about for this coming weekend?
Probably the Gobbler makeup feature. 20,000 to win.
Late model guy, of course he said that. So I'm going to the world of outlaw sprint cars. They've been putting on a hell of a show, slicing, dicing, and I'm anxiously waiting for Donnie Schatz to get win number 300 under his belt, because I can assure you, I mean, he's always focused ahead. He's wide open, right? But there's that little part of you going, I just want to get this out of the way, because I know he has people talking about it, and he has all that. He just wants to, let's get 300 done so we can get on with the rest of the season. So good luck, Donnie Schatz. Get that win number 300. Make us up in the northern part of the country proud. So, Bert, it's been a pleasure. I always love talking racing. Couple technical difficulties today.
Yeah.
It happens. So, fans, sorry about that. It is what it is. You know, that's part of racing. You get a flat tire, you don't quit. You throw another tire on, you get your ass back out to your race. We did the same thing here. You know, you have a couple little technical difficulties, you get back on the saddle, and we bring you what we got. And hopefully enjoy the show. Lots of racing coming up. We're literally just weeks away now from racing opening up in our area. Super excited about that. Of course, I'm Ryan Aho. That's the one and only Bert Lehman. As Puka always says, go out there and be your dream. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.